are shot because they are innocent. They haven't done anything. They were just protesting. What is this? We are in 21st century. I mean, we are in a civilized country. We are civilized people. These people were only demonstrating, and at the end of the day, they were shot dead.
The victims here include the medical staff themselves, who'd been treating people in a triage tent set up near Pearl Roundabout. Consultant Dr. Sadiq Al-Ekri says he was severely beaten and left for dead. Did you tell them you were a doctor?
Yeah, but they don't listen. And I was wearing the uniform for the doctors, you know, that one with the crescent. Then they tie me and they attack me while I'm tying. Then I don't know how many people, maybe 10, maybe 20. I don't remember. I'm hearing from everywhere. I was hearing hit by sticks, by legs. I don't know what they. Then they told me, get up or we'll kill you.
Nurses were also beaten.
I went there as volunteer there. What's this? What is this? This is the democracy? This is democracy? I don't know. This is Bahrain? I don't know.
In the hospital mortuary, the bodies of the dead. One man is missing part of his skull. Doctors say he was beaten to death. 2 others died after being peppered with shotgun bullets. Ahmed Botaki comes to pay his respects to his younger brother, Mahmoud, dead at just 22. They mourn, many are angry. But all say something has changed here. These deaths will never be forgiven. AlJazeera, Bahrain.
Well, before we talk about what might be said at Friday prayers, one wants to really try and gauge the atmosphere of these people and what they're feeling. Is it more shock or more anger at the moment?
I think there's a real mixture of emotions. I think, as you say, there is definitely anger at what's happened. Many people know those that are injured. Many people that I've seen at the funeral procession obviously know those that had died. But as well as the shock and anger, there is fear. People are genuinely concerned for their lives. Taking part just in a funeral march from a mosque to a cemetery along the road is a dangerous thing, as was proved just a few days ago when a similar march came under attack by the riot police, and that led to 1 death. So I think people are having to summon up some bravery just to take part in these funeral marches, to lay to rest those that they know.
And of course, Friday is a day of rest across the Muslim-speaking world, and we're expecting possibly senior priests and clerics to voice something. We don't know what, though, do we?
No, we know that there will be more crowds gathering. These 3 funeral marches in Sitra will conclude with Friday prayers, and there'll be comments made, not just clerics attending. I've spoken to a number of political leaders who are also in these funeral marches, who've been talking about the situation and saying that they really need the government now to show some concessions politically if life is to return to any sort of normality. There also will be prayers in a place called Draz, a large village, and there we're likely to hear from the best-known Shia cleric in Bahrain. Ayatollah Isa Qasim will be giving an address, and I think his words will be watched closely.
Yes, and you'll be following those events for us from Manama. Thanks very much for joining us. Pro- and anti-government protesters are out on the streets of Libya's eastern city of Benghazi. The demonstrations follow Thursday's Day of Rage that led to a number of deaths. Estimates vary, but Human Rights Watch say that the death toll could be as many as 24. A number of amateur videos of the protests have been posted online, which we can't independently verify. Caroline Malone reports.
A gunshot is heard, and a man who appears fatally injured is seen lying on the road. This is some of the strongest evidence yet, corroborating witness accounts from Libya. This video, said to be filmed in Benghazi, was uploaded to YouTube. in clear defiance of Muammar Gaddafi's leadership. Protesters burning a monument to the Green Book, written by the colonel to outline his political views. The video was posted on YouTube and said to have been filmed in the city of Tobruk on Thursday, during nationwide protests for Libya's Day of Rage. Reports of casualties have come from all over the country, with witnesses claiming there was a violent crackdown on peaceful protests. Sources suggest Libyan security forces shot and killed demonstrators. Some of the worst casualty numbers were reported in the city of Beda, where, according to Human Rights Watch, hospital staff put out a call for additional help as they became overwhelmed with injuries. Many there in a critical condition with gunshot wounds. And footage has emerged allegedly from the capital, Tripoli, showing people pushing burning bins into the street. Another form of protest against Gaddafi's more than 40-year rule. Caroline Malone, Al Jazeera.
Anti-government protests in Yemen are expected to continue as well as people rally following Friday prayers. And the unrest hasn't been confined to the capital, Sana'a. Similar rallies were held in the southern port city of Aden. Chaos ensued on Thursday when police opened fire on nearly 3,000 protesters. Officials said 3 people were killed and dozens wounded. Egypt's pro-democracy leaders are planning a victory march in Cairo on Friday to celebrate the removal of President Hosni Mubarak last week. And in the wake of Egypt's revolution, 3 former cabinet ministers and 1 top businessman have been arrested. Now, they are the ex-Interior Minister Habib El Adli, who stands accused of corruption. Steel tycoon Ahmed Ez, who was the organisational secretary for Mubarak's NDP party, along with the former housing minister Ahmed Moghrabi and ex-tourism minister Zuhair Garana. Officials say they'll stay in prison for 15 days while being investigated. Well, following events in Cairo is Andrew Simmons, our correspondent there. Are these arrests going to keep the protesters happy? Is it going to placate the anger on the streets?
Yes, to some degree. So, I mean, particularly Habib El Adli, the former Interior Minister, a hate figure amongst the people here, not only the demonstrators, but also the police, because this man was responsible for the orders to shoot at protesters. Not only that, he engaged in further orders to pursue them, to pull back the police, and really is a hated figure. But there's a massive job ahead in bringing to justice the stooges of the regime and indeed the former ministers, because ingrained throughout public corporations and indeed private corporations are people who will stand accused of blackmail, of bribery and of money laundering. Some accounts have been frozen, some actions have been taken, but really it has to be said that people are not satisfied with the pace of chase here. And so now you have a big test Friday in this victory rally.